Hello. Hi, guys. Hello, Pontus, Juan Toledano, Boris, the Imperial Feast. Whoa. An Imperial Feast here. Wow, wow, wee, wow. welcome to the stream. Diego, hello. How are you doing, guys? Sorry for the small delay of joining in, but I had to fix some things when I was this close to start the stream. So, yeah. All right. Yes, let me put a little bit of our background uh, fire sound. Here it is. Can you hear it? Can you hear the fireplace, the crackling sound of the fire? Can you let me know? Because I'm there was some update with my recording device and everything, and I'm not sure if it's all right. Okay, perfect. Enough of silly explanations that you don't care about. All right. Diego, you always thought it was my chimney. No, sadly, I don't have a chimney. I live on a flat, on an apartment, so no place for that. Okay, so let's start it with this. So, as it says on the title for the stream, and as we talked about a little bit some weeks ago, I think, I've been going through some ideas of what to do to dedicate a little bit of more specific for the streams, something that is not too complicated, but yeah. And as I explained, I've been wondering for a long time about this idea of doing this kind of sequential illustrations, kind of diving into the very grim aspect of the 40k universe from a narrative perspective, and using some kind of rough illustrations to illustrate it. So just going about the like presenting. I'm still don't know how to do it, and it would be fantastic if we can have an open discussion. If you want to come to contribute or participate, so give me your opinions. I will be very happy to hear and take it in consideration. So it's like still don't know exactly how to present them, but the idea, as I explained by then, is like having this character within the 40k universe, and with a lot of hubris and like, or maybe not, but just like about glory and like this mighty hero, perhaps. I mean, it could be many different types, but just to exemplify. So perhaps, yes, like this mighty hero with the conqueror of worlds and blah blah blah, and like this yeah, you name it, like mighty hero with insane story, and with everything in front of him or her, just And all of this, so you create that expectation, and then he or she just end up in the most gruesome or silly and epic way possible, just becoming, I don't know, like a skull trophy for an orc, or just burning to nothing with not achieving anything or something like that. So I'm still don't know how to do it. If present first, let's say the skull, right, that is hanging on a, let's say, out hanging on a tank, a chaos tank or something as a trophy, and then presenting the mighty hero which that skull belonged to, and with all these things that were supposed to happen, and with all these glory that was waiting for him just to end up that way. Or the other way around, just present first the character and then just showing how the character ends up. Maybe just like a smear of blood on the floor because it's been kind of stepped by a titan or something like that. I mean, something the most unglorious way of dying or undignifying as possible, just to kind of really underscore the grimness and futility of everything, regardless of all these tales of glory and epic and everything. So that's kind of the core idea for these sequential illustrations, and just to have an excuse, to be honest, just to do some cool characters on at the same time. So of course also I'm very much open for suggestions as well. I wasn't sure what to do for the first one, but then I thought, like, okay, without knowing too much what I'm gonna do, I thought about what kind of 40k character I feel for doing just now, and I felt for doing some kind of chaos paladin or champion, some chaos space marine champion. So that's, and I started to do these, but yeah, I don't know how to follow it up with it, so I'm more than open for suggestions for this one, how to build the small story, or for future mini stories. So, and I'm thinking that the cool thing about it is that the how they end up is like a twist to the small story that we are going to construct about the character. So I'm thinking, if I was already thinking that he could be like some kind of word bearer, perhaps. So something that has to do with religion, or with books, or I don't know. But it needs to end up in the most undignified and what's the word? How do you say in English? The most underwhelming way possible. Regardless of how mighty the hero or the warrior is, for real. But yeah, the universe is very cruel and doesn't care of how much powerful or mighty you are. So that's kind of the idea. David De Luca, hello, welcome. Like always, how are you doing? Boris, big fan of your work, dude. Been practicing hard. Nice. Well, thanks a lot. That's very nice of you to say, and fantastic. Always practicing. That's very good. All right. So yeah, let's begin. Let me just resume the recording, because I would like to record all of the process of these illustrations. So maybe get the opportunity to do something with those recordings. We'll see. All right. So let's explore some ideas for this character. I'm thinking, I just thought about a word bearer, because of so for some reason I'm thinking about like a lot of parchments on the character, having quite a lot, like the purity seals. Who else than a word bearer to use that, right? I think they are very good candidates for something like that. So yeah, some word bearer champion, and something just to make the whole story more interesting. Then I'm thinking that hubris is need to be strong in this one. Also, I think it would fit very well the legion that he is part of, right? Hubris and righteous, even if it's for chaos. So yeah, he thinks very highly of himself. Maybe he thinks he is some sort of prophet. He has a very big role to play into the scheme of things of the dark gods and the galaxy. He's the one to be the ultimate champion of chaos. He has a lot of great things in front of him, you know, a lot of things to many worlds to conquer, and millions to sacrifice to the glory of the chaos gods or something like that, and he will be the main instrument of it. And to be on, I mean, so and to get into the whole point of the story, he's not just a nobody for real. He has good reasons to be for that hubris. He is a champion after all. He has, you know, conquered hundreds of worlds, and I don't know, I mean, he could have defeated like a lot of warriors of the Emperor, you know, like many of Space Marines. He could have, I mean, he can be very old and played some big part even on the Horus Heresy, perhaps. So I don't know. He need to have some glorious past and achievements, and all of that is just like an opening for what he thinks, or the promise of what things are to come. you need to be. So that's kind of the idea. Then the question would be, what would be the most underwhelming and an anticlimactic way of finishing his tale. I mean, basically dying. I mean, all these stories need to end up with the character dying or after death. Adrián de la Rosa, saludos Miguel, hello everyone. How are you doing? Welcome, bienvenido. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Perdona que siga en inglés, pero aquí hay muchos que no saben español, así que normalmente lo tengo en el stream en inglés. But yes, an absolute pleasure having you here. What is my favorite loyal Primarch and my favorite Chaos Primarch? Well, I have to be honest. I like many of them for many different reasons. So it goes. Depend. Sometimes I like. There are certain aspects that I feel for more than others, and then I feel the appeal of one specific one, and then after a while I feel for another one. But to be if I would have to choose one from the loyalists, one that always really appealed, especially since when I was a little boy, a kid, was Lemon Ross. And I think it's because of the kind of more classic hero appeal. Like he epitomized, I think in my opinion, the best, like this idea of the quest hero of ancient tales and stuff like that. And yeah, and I think he's pretty cool, and I like the fact that he plays like this barbarian, or like not so clever, but that's all. Everything is just he's indeed very clever. He just pretend that he is more superficial, not so thoughtful as his brothers. But that's just a ruse. So I like that quite a lot. And from the Chaos Primarchs, that is a difficult one. I think I like Perturabo a lot in his madness, and but perhaps the one that resonates the most, and I think he's the most clever of all the Primarchs, and the one that it's Alfarius. Maybe that's my favorite of all, because it's not as fancy as many others and with very special powers, or but I think he's the more clever one of all the Primarchs there is. And I like that he always plays very smart. So there you go. So Lemon Ross and Alfarius. How about you? Do you have any favorites Primarchs or several? I don't know. I mean, I guess you should have. Let me see here. Right, just a small side note aside from the subject that we are talking about, but of course, I mean, I have to talk about the tutorial, right? Well, I'm this close to be finished. This close. Episode 1, 2, and 3 are completely finished, and I'm this close to finishing the 4th one. Now, here there is some Spanish-speaking people. I really would like that people that speak Spanish and but not necessarily knows English would be able to enjoy the tutorial series. So I would very much like to have or add subtitles in English for the videos, but I honestly don't have the time. So if any of you are willing to give a hand and to do the Spanish subtitles for the tutorial, I will be extremely grateful if if anybody want to give a hand, because it's to be honest, it's not an insane amount of work, but still it will take time because it's a lot of text to translate. And of course you could always say like, yeah, but I could use Google Translate or anything, but yeah, Google Translate is not good to get the nuance of language. And I mean, yeah, just for the sake of making it fast. But I don't want to, yeah, I want in this case for Spanish speaking people to have some also quality content as well. So I don't want to have it like as an afterthought. So yeah, if you are interested, please give me let me know on the Discord server. Or on Instagram, a direct message that's saying that you want to help with the translation or the subtitles. But yeah, insane. I mean, after all this time, so close to be done with the tutorial. And of course, the good news is, well, of course, that I will be able to share with everybody, with all of you, but also finally I can start with my project. Yes. I mean, you need to understand that I've been planning to get to this point for 5 years. And all the time thinking about it and planning and doing research and everything. And so infuriating not to be able to spend some quality time working on the project, on my project. So Adrian, all right, good. Diego, something like Cal Drogo, maybe dying from an infected wound. Yeah, but you know, I don't want to need to use some alternatives that are easy to explain with few images, right? I'm not trying to do a comic, so maybe just to be able to explain it with just 2 images. And to be as easy to explain and but yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you. Definitely. Maybe not for this guy, but for somebody else, yeah, that will be a cool thing for sure. Adrian, Lemon Rose and Perturabo, cool. My favorites are Sanguinius and Magnus. Love the red color. Well, to be honest, I'm a big fan of Sanguinius as well. I think he's very, very, very cool. Magnus, I have to say, I dislike quite a lot. I'm not a big fan of him. Peter, hey, how are you? Welcome to the stream like always. Frédéric, salut, comment ça va? Welcome, how are you doing, man? Diego, if I get the tutorial for free, I will do it. Well, Diego, the thing is that the tutorial is gonna be for free for everybody. So if I'm asking to help, well, it's just I'm doing this for to be honest, for the love for this community. So it's totally for free. But also what I want to say is that if you want to help, I want, I mean, how can I put it? I'm just interested if you really want to help and you are willing to put the time and to do it in time. And I know it's a big ask because, of course, I mean, who am I to ask for anything? But just I don't want to wait forever to release it. And I don't want to end up in a situation where at the end whoever say that is gonna ask help at the end doesn't help, or just is not serious enough. So just give a shout if you are committed to it. If you are not much, it's better that you don't say anything, and better for everybody, for me and also for you, so you don't waste your time and neither mine. But yeah, I mean, the thing is that as I was saying, that the Spanish speaking community is so big, and after putting so much effort into doing this and being from Spain myself, I feel a little bit bad not yeah, giving the opportunity for people that doesn't speak English not to be able to enjoy the tutorials. So and I'm guessing that, I mean, to speed things up, Google Translate can be used, but then would need to be re-tweaked just to fix the things that doesn't really work well with the translation. But so I'm envisioning him like looking down at us, right? Just to underline that the idea of hubris, right? That he's looking down on everybody, or well, at least in this case, to us. see. Mm. Where was I? Yeah, there. Miguel, do you know if Perturbados names came from our Spanish perturbado? I have no idea. Could be. Um, I always thought of it as I mean, at least to me, I always thought of it in the same way. Not if it's intentional, but at least as at least it kind of made me think a lot of it, and it actually kind of fits with the character. So I don't know if it's intentional actually. But if it is, I wouldn't be surprised. Pontus, stream went offline on Twitch, but still works on other platforms. Strange. Well, I guess there's not much I can do at this point about that. Let's see, can I say hello something here? I can use the chat on Twitch, so I'm not sure. Frédéric, your French progress. I'm proud of you. I'm a little sick, so I take smooth. Bon, mais tu sais, je peux parler français parfaitement. J'ai pas parlé en français avec toi, mais oui, je peux parler en français. Je vais pas le faire ici parce que, comme je dis beaucoup de fois, durant le stream, je parle seulement en anglais. Mais voilà. Well, and I hope that you get healthy soon, Frédéric. I hope it's nothing too strong or big, or yeah, I don't know how to say. And well, of course it's obvious, but I haven't said anything. But yeah, I was planning to do this whole series starting in black and white, and perhaps to add a little bit of color later on. But yeah, just to change things a little bit. But also, since I want to use so much or underscore the grim darkness of 40k, I find that working in black and white, it's very is very useful in that way, because makes things more monotone and yeah, not so colorful and joyful in some way. So it's very fitting, I think. I think also the name for the characters, it's gonna be important just to play with the story, and of course we would add. I was always thinking of adding a lot of titles to the names, right? Just to reinforce that idea of the the potential for this story to be, and all the potential, but that never gets to realize or finish accordingly to the promise of glory and climatic end. So of course I was thinking, for example, like a Lord Inquisitor would be a nice character to have on this series. Some sort of high-ranking officer of the Imperial Guard, perhaps. Of course, Space Marines. And the thing is that what I find so appealing with the idea of this type of stories is the fact that there are infinite ways of dying in the 40k universe in the most underwhelming and an anticlimactic way possible. Let's say like the ultimate, I don't know, grandmaster of the Grey Knights, just to put like over the top, right? Grandmaster of the Grey Knights has defeated some greater demons and blah 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 whatever, and in one of the teleportation strikes that he's involved, he just vanished into the warp and just die. I mean, I kind of like that type of that's kind of the angle that I want to go for, or I mean, or something that I could be the same for, like some kind of Space Marine hero in a Terminator armor, and he's about to go in this teleportation strike, and then just maybe half teleport inside a wall and just die, and that's and that's it. That's the end of the story for that mighty warrior. Sorry, as you can see, I'm still not fully recovered from this epic gold that I got from my son. Jim Frédéric, wow. No, mon Dieu. Juan Toledano. Oh, I see that YouTube, it's working. Move to there. Okay, so you. Okay, so the Twitch thing, it's a thing. That's a shame. I don't know. Things of the cosas del directo, as we say in Spanish. But yeah, YouTube. Luis Ramon, hello. How are you doing, man? Hi, Miguel. It's a pleasure. I don't know what that is. It has been so busy with job and personal things. I hope all your family are okay and your friends and relatives from Ukraine as well. Un abrazo. Yeah, thanks, man. Rich. All right. Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much. Yeah, all my relatives and friends in Ukraine are fine for now. Because most of them are living in Kiev. So now that it seems that that dreaded assault on the city did not happen, so of course we are a little bit more relieved, but still things are precarious, of course, and yeah, we are still very worried overall. So, but thanks for asking, man. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Frederic, there is a story online about a Grey Knight who travels the realm of Slaanesh. Personally, I don't think a psyker so powerful as it is can do such a madness. What do you think of it? About it? Well, I think, I mean, the possibilities and things that may happen in the world or universe of 40k are plenty, right? And if it might be one in a million, or the only one that ever managed to do something of that kind. So I think it's, even though unlikely, right? Because, but still, I can see happening to some degree. So, but of course, that would mean that is an absolute mighty individual, of course, to be able to do something of that sort. But yeah, it would have to be something absolutely exceptional, for sure. And I mean, and as I see it, is like, or as far as I understand it, or that's the vision that I get, is like the realm of each specific gods is not just the warp. It's within the warp, but it's not just the madness of the warp. So I could see that you could kind of survive if you go through the logic of those realms, and of course you are some mighty individual, of course. But maybe the gods play with him, right? In some regard, or yeah, I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the that specific story, so I don't know. I'm also the reason why I'm using this light setting is to reinforce the dramatism of the character and to make him look more evil. Luis, amazing portrait as always. It's Oris? No, it is. This guy here is going to be some word bearer champion of some sort. So a Chaos Space Marine. Adrian, sometimes 40k gets a little anticlimactic. Well, I don't know. I think yeah, maybe I don't know. I think it's the opposite. I think it's a little bit too climatic all the time. I feel there is always. I mean, of course, I understand, right? They are selling the fantasy and everything, so it feels that all the time you have all these epic final battles between heroes and super villains, and and of course because of the game, right? And so you have all these special characters, and all are mighty heroes in their own way, and everything has a purpose, and they, you know, and if they die in this very epic and dramatic way, etc., etc. But and of course there is, I mean, to be fair, they need to sell the epic, right? But trying to get a more realistic approach to the whole thing, and especially being just a huge, I mean, a whole galaxy, and etc., etc. Those are very tiny examples, but we know how real life is, right? And it's that it doesn't care. There is no narrative, doesn't exist. Narrative is something made up by us, right? So there is no purpose for things. There is no things are not supposed to happen for a reason. Things just happen, and sometimes things happen even if it doesn't make sense, or it's not the most the best end results. So so yeah, it's kind of represent the universe as it really is, and it just uncaring. It doesn't care how mighty you are, how powerful, or how whatever. So So yeah, I think there is too much of that, and that's why I find this approach that appealing. You have a more cynical look into the 40k. Adrian, well, indeed, now I'm very hyped with that Godblight Emperor return, and yes, it is a very climax. I'm not. What are you talking about? Sorry, I'm. I think I am very much into the latest updates to the general lore, but I'm not sure what you are referring to there. I think for now, I mean, this is more than okay for now for the head. I think it gives me enough information, and I can continue at another time. But all right, let's go with the body. Yeah, Adrian, yeah, I thought so. 40k is the lore with more realistic approach in that way. Entropy pulls its threads every time. Yes. Okay, okay, Adrian, sorry. Now I get what you mean. Dark Imperium Godblight, last novel. Yes. Where, yeah, Mortarion and Gilliman fights, and Ultramarine Primarch gets almost killed, but Emperor is back there to save him. Yes. That's what I mean, right? It's, well, I mean, of course, you have I mean, within that context, of course, everything is super over the top, and you have like the two Primarchs and everything. But yeah, that's the point, right? So everything is so narrative driven, obviously, and the heroes are gonna perform as heroes, and the villains are gonna perform as villains, and they are gonna have stories that fit their purpose in that regard. I think the novels of Dan Abnett are the ones that goes away a little bit from that, and that's also one of the reasons why I like them so much. Where things are not as what's the word, as predictable as possible with the lore armor stuff. So it's a little bit I mean, give a little bit of the Game of Thrones type of approach to things, that people will die left and right and left, regardless of how promising their story was, because life is doesn't care. I mean, also I need to, for the sake of the narrative of these illustrations, I need to display him. I mean, the first part of the illustration, right? You need to play along of this epic tale, and therefore I need to display the the character under that light. So when I depict his end, it has a stronger effect with the contrast. mean, all these things are pretty important to think about, right? Like I say to my students on my course, everything that you do in your illustration need to be driven by what you are trying to tell, and use every single visual element with a narrative purpose to reinforce that message that you are trying to communicate to your audience. And I still haven't figured out exactly what the pose is gonna be. I'm just exploring possibilities. Look at me, I'm dancing. Dee 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 dee. I'm so powerful. I'm so scary. Also, I will try to keep these illustrations pretty rough. Not. I just want to go to the, unless maybe I'm having a lot of fun, perhaps. Yeah, why not just to go a little bit farther with them? But I just want to go to the essential. Also, like that, it would give me the opportunity to go faster and to do more of them, because obviously, I mean, since this is going to be a series of sequential illustrations, I mean, for each story I'm gonna need to do at least 2 images, and I'm guessing perhaps the best way to display later on will be like with some kind of short video, zooming in or zooming out with the illustration. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm at this point, I'm just speculating into what the possibilities are and what I can do with them. So I'm just what I should have done, and I would have done under other circumstances, is that instead of just jumping in and painting, I would just sit down and think a little bit. What is the scope of the whole thing? What I'm trying to achieve? But the thing is, I don't have the time, so that would be a very boring stream. So yeah, I think it will be a very organic process, and we'll see how it goes. And we can experiment and see. As you can see, this file, this image is very, very big. If I zoom in, yeah, you still hear. I mean, you still you start seeing the pixels. Yeah, that's how I like to do it. Aizen, hello. Nice grayscale. Thank you, and welcome to the stream. Adrian, are you using references right now, or is it just from your memory? Whatever it is, the answer is just awesome. Your works. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, now it's just on my own because I have no idea what I'm doing. Probably later on I will be using a lot of references depending on what I want to do. But since I'm doing a Space Marine, even though Chaos Space Marine, it is pretty easy. I mean, I have done quite many, so I don't feel I need it at the moment. Just I'm not sure what I want to do with his pose. Frederic, are you already played to RPG, a tabletop RPG? If I have played, yes, plenty. I mean, all my childhood and teenage years were dominated by playing tabletop role play games. There's been quite some time since I haven't, but yeah. I used to play. I played a little bit of Dungeons of Dragons, but not that much, to be honest. The most that I played was the Lord of the Rings, the Vampire the Masquerade, also the Myth of Cthulhu, and I think those are the main ones that I used to play. But well, Star Wars as well, tabletop role game I played, but most of the ones that I played was again Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings, and Vampire the Masquerade. And as an adult, I have played also LARPs, but not any type of LARPs, but what it's called Nordic LARPing, where it's not so much the type of LARPing, mainstream LARPing, I could say. But it's more about the stories. So yeah, I'm a big role player, role game player. Even though I haven't done it for some years now, but yeah. So now I'm trying to think of what is he doing? What's the pose about? Is he? Do I want him just standing, or do I want to go a little bit farther within the story and kind of tied it somehow with the story at hand, or not? But of course, since we don't have a story, it's difficult to come up with something, right? But yeah, maybe he's holding some kind of relic. Like the key to open a gate to a realm within the warp or something. so he will become a demon prince or some. I have no idea. Another thing, going back to the tutorial and of how to paint Space Marines and my personal project. Another thing is that once I'm done with editing the last episode, which again is just like these very tiny bits. Before I release it to the public, I still need to figure out some few things for my Patreon as well before I release the tutorials, because I make a reference in there and I still haven't made public my Patreon page. So it would be pretty bad if I direct people to my Patreon and it's still not done. So yeah. So it will still take a little more time to release, but at least they will be done. So Space Marines. By the way, it took me completely by surprise, and I haven't looked into it a little bit deeper. But is the new Chaos Gate game done by Frontier Development? Because I originally thought it was done, or it was being done by a studio that had done some mobile phones games, but so is it me that I'm completely confused and that is not the case, or is it the case and I've been just living under a rock? And on that regard, is any of you hyped for that game? I am not. And not because probably it's gonna be fantastic, but to be honest, the art direction has put me a little bit off. It's too cartoony. It's too much like the miniatures. I would have liked a little bit more realistic approach. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, and this thing that I'm just saying right now is not. I'm not in any way or form trashing about the game at all. It's just my personal preference, and yeah. Regardless of how big of a fan I am of the first, the original Chaos Gate game from ages ago, like more than 20 years ago, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it hasn't captured my interest that much. I guess one reason is because of the theme as well, that there is the Grey Knights and it's about demons, and to me that is not that appealing. I don't know. I would have liked a little bit something a little bit more mundane, just no, not about magic and demons and supernatural stuff, but just old-fashioned wars about enemies, and yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty aware that myself as a fan, I'm very difficult to please. I'm extremely picky to a silly degree, I guess. Frederic, I prepare to become Grand Game Master on Mage the Ascension on World of Darkness. Nice. Nice. I never played as a game master, to be honest. Well, I mean, from time to time, but yeah, I don't have that much of experience. Just a tiny bit. But yeah, I'm more of a regular player in that sense. Frederic, what do you prefer in Warhammer video games? FPS, realistic, strategy, multiplayer? Well, I mean, in that regard, I don't care much. I like everything if it's very well displayed. Of course, I'm a big fan of RTS games of any kind. So of course, for example, the original Chaos Gate I really enjoyed. Dawn of War, especially the second one. The first one was cool for being the first one, even though it had great limitations, but the second one was brilliant. The third one, I didn't play it. I completely refused to play it because of how cartoony it looked, everything. It felt that they were going too much StarCraft, and yeah. So there you go. Again, yeah, this theme again. The for example, the Space Marine game, I loved it. So it just more arcade type of action game. It was very, very nice. The original Epic game, I really, really enjoyed it. That's something that I wish they would do another video game, and trying to make it realistic. I mean, the thing, as a fan of 40K, the thing that kind of appeals to me is trying to imagine the universe of 40K as it is supposed to be, and it's realistic, and it's in our world. And it kind of always put me off every single time they go with a very stylized approach to it, because it looks like the miniatures, forgetting that the miniatures themselves are an attempt to visualize and materialize that fantasy that has a lot of limitations, especially when they when they started. So that's why things they look like small toys, right? But that doesn't mean that things are supposed to look like that, right? So it is a grim, I mean, if you think about it, it's a grim, dark universe, science fiction universe. But if you make everything cartoony and look like toys, you are removing a big part of that narrative intent. So that's the issue that I have with cartoony approaches to adaptations of the 40K universe. At the moment, I'm just trying to lay down the foundation of the shapes and volumes of the character and the pose. As you will see on the tutorial, I talk a lot about this part of the process and how vital it is. Well, it is the most important part. Because here is where you will end up making mistakes. Maybe he's holding some sort of axe. Could that be? Well, I guess we would have to figure that out in the next stream, because I have to I have to go to bed. I have plenty of work to do tomorrow, and Lord Commander Dante, it's been not very helpful to have a rest during the nights. So but yeah, I think this is looking interesting, at least. I think as a first attempt, things might change quite a lot. So yeah, so you know, but so yeah, this mighty chaos champion that he thinks he has accomplished a lot, but he will end up somehow in a very anticlimactic way. Still to be determined. I would like to refer like some make it look like inspired by some skeleton, or use a lot of bones references on the design of the armor. Well, we'll see. Mike, have you ever considered making a course for 40k in specific, provided you don't get copy strike for teaching people how to draw fan art of 40k? Well, yes. Well, not a course, but I'm guessing by your question that you are new to the stream, because I'm talking about it every single time. But yeah, I'm about to release a tutorial series about how to paint and draw Space Marines. So yes, it will be on YouTube for free for everybody to enjoy. And I'm this close to finish with everything. So it will be 4 episodes. It will be more or less, if I'm not mistaken, close to 3 hours of content. Sayar, hey, how are you doing? Well, like I said, this is gonna be it for today. Like always, an absolute pleasure, and And yeah, very excited for getting ready for the release of the tutorials, and to start with my personal projects, and with getting Patreon started as well. And with this a series of sequential illustrations, we'll see. I think it can end up pretty cool. I'm also considering, we'll see if I can convince anybody, but maybe to do some collaboration with some big lore YouTubers, and see if with these projects of the sequential illustrations, maybe like to make some narration once I have all the series done. So maybe it would be cool to do some narration. We'll see. I don't know. It's just like brainstorming in my head about what I can do with them, and if not, well, just on my own, it's just fine. But yeah, anyway, thanks everybody once again for joining in today. Stay safe, stay healthy, paint and draw a lot, have fun, and see you next week. All right, bye.